Hey, what's going on? In this video I wanted to touch on a few things that I wish I would have done differently and things that I have learned thus far in a couple of interviews. So first, one thing that I haven't been doing and I really wish I would have is when someone reaches out to you after you've applied for their position, I wish, and I don't think that this is necessarily going to get you a job or anything, it's just an idea and something to consider. Ask them what they thought of your projects. This would be a good way to get feedback from employers, and let's say hypothetically you get 10 calls. That's totally not out of the question, and I think everyone in my course is going to get at least that, unless you're really good and you get the first job and it works out perfectly. But anyway, majority of students are probably going to get 5 to 10 phone calls at least in terms of phone screens, phone interviews, etc. And I think it'd be really beneficial to ask for feedback. It could be anything. If they say, hey, we really like this about your projects, or we thought this was really good, this really stood out to us, then you can confidently know that that is a good part of your project. And if maybe in a later interview, if you need to talk about that, you can speak a little more confidently and say, hey, I'm proud of this, this was my best work. And from an employer standpoint, you now know what they're looking for. And on the contrary, if someone says, you know, if given negative feedback, I guess, or constructive criticism, if they see a project or something in your project and thought maybe you could work on it, then voila, there is something that you know you can work on and something that employers will appreciate when you are able to fix it. This is something I did not do, and the reason why I'm making this video is for you out there. When you go through the process of applying, you're gonna get turned down a lot. I hope you don't. I hope you're the best student in your class. However, it is likely that you will receive some really cold non-emails, as I like to call them. That being when you apply to a job and they don't reach back out to you and give you feedback or criticism. So why I'm making this video is maybe on that first call, get them to talk about your projects. And if they didn't even look at your projects, then maybe that says something about them. Maybe, I don't really have an answer off the top of my head, but maybe they didn't look into your resume enough, or maybe you really hope that they looked at it and they didn't, so maybe you crossed them off the list or whatever you have it. But the point is, I want them to look at my work, give me criticism and feedback so that I can improve in the future. So that's something I wish I would have done differently. Number two, I wanted to share my experience of my first really fail of an interview. So I had a phone interview with a company outside of the Bay Area, and the interview began with a phone screen, like a phone interview, kind of talk about myself, him able to talk about the company. Totally went great. And then I went into the technical aspect, and this was a screen share. So he gave me access to his computer. He gave me his code base of, not the company's code base, but just of the exercise, and gave me 3 different exercises to do within this exercise, I guess, if you will. And I failed it miserably. So it was something that we covered in class, and I didn't remember it, and unfortunately in a pressure cook situation such as an interview, I completely forgot how to do it. So we dealt with Ajax in this interview and in class, getting JSON data using Ajax, and I thought I had a good grasp of it. However, when the interview came, I realized I didn't. He was very nice. He gave me access to Google. He understood that that's available to programmers in their day-to-day job, so he was nice and allowed access to Google. But with the pressure, I failed. You know, it's gonna happen. Hopefully it doesn't happen to you, but it's gonna happen, and I failed. The point of this is to let you know that there are gonna be a lot of things you cover in class, and for me, applying to jobs in my experience, I noticed that I was only asked stuff that I had listed on my resume. I applied only to jobs that I felt comfortable with. So we didn't learn things like Java and C, so I didn't apply to jobs looking for Java and C experience. I looked for front-end jobs, looking for JavaScript, HTML, CSS, jQuery, Ajax, etc. And my tip for you is to understand that what you learn in class is all you need to know. If you became an expert at everything that was covered in GA's WDI bootcamp, you will be extremely employable. What I wish I would have done differently is gone back over what we learned, gone back through my notes, and perfected and became better acquainted with the things I already knew. So I kind of arrogantly thought that I learned everything and fully knew it, but then when this interview came and I failed it, I realized that maybe there's some holes there. So had I gone back and looked through the notes and for the 10 or 12 technologies or whatever on my resume, had I gone back and become more refreshed with those, I think I would have passed and or succeeded some of the interviews that I didn't do so well at. This includes code challenges as well. So, for confidence sake for you as a future student or current student, remember that they are teaching you everything very, very, very quickly. It is not possible to retain everything. You will become acquainted with a lot of technologies and you will feel confident in knowing them, and I believe that you do. I believe I did. However, sometimes when you're maybe 10 weeks after covering Ajax or JSON data or whatever it is, maybe that little refresher before an interview, maybe spend a day or two doing it, should help you immensely. And before you move on to learning new technologies after your course, remember that you are still really, really employable with all of the things that they teach you in the course. So hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'll get back to you quickly. And hopefully you'll subscribe and follow me as long as I become a developer in the tech industry. Thanks so much.